All right, today we're going to dive into something incredibly personal and really powerful. We're looking at one person's journey through the chaos of bipolar disorder, a story that's about struggle for sure, but ultimately it's about finding hope and a path forward.
And that line just hits you, right? That's how this story begins. It perfectly captures that feeling of being totally overwhelmed by something huge and terrifying, something you just can't escape. It's such a powerful way to describe this experience.
So, let's get into it. What does that storm actually feel like from the inside? Well, according to this testimony, it's not just one thing. It's this constant, almost violent swing between two completely different worlds. I mean, think about that for a second. This phrase right here, it gets to the very heart of the conflict. This isn't just being moody, it's feeling like you're literally two different people at war inside your own head, both fighting for the controls.
And this is where you really see what that means. On one hand, you've got the high self, feeling euphoric, invincible, talking nonstop, making reckless decisions. And on the other side, the low self, just completely paralyzed, empty, defeated, where even finding a little bit of joy feels impossible. They're not just moods, they are two totally separate realities.
Okay, so these extremes, they're not just happening inside someone's head, right? They spill out into the real world, and they have huge, devastating consequences. This is when the storm finally makes landfall.
So you might be wondering, how does it happen? How do you go from feeling on top of the world, totally invincible, to a complete and utter collapse? Well, this testimony lays out a very clear and pretty painful chain of events.
And this timeline, wow, it just lays it all out so clearly. It kicks off with that manic high, chasing some wild dream. That leads to impulsively quitting a job. Then the reckless spending starts, maxing out credit cards. All the while, friends are being pushed away because they just don't get the erratic behavior. You can see how each step leads right to the next, until, bam, the crash.
And then comes the aftermath, which is just brutal. Once that high is gone, all that's left is this profound sense of shame and being totally alone. The author talks about being too scared, too ashamed to even ask for help because of this deep belief that it was all a personal failure.
But here's the thing. Right there, at rock bottom, sitting on the floor of that empty apartment, that's when a turning point came. It wasn't some magic cure, but a few simple, powerful words that acted like a lifeline. Just listen to those words. Can you imagine hearing that for the first time after blaming yourself for so long? It was completely transformative. It shattered all that shame. Suddenly, this wasn't a moral failing anymore. It was an illness, something that could be treated, and something you didn't have to go through by yourself.
So, okay, hearing those words was the key that unlocked the door. But opening that door and actually walking through it, well, that's the start of a whole new journey, the path to recovery. And as the source makes really clear, it was anything but easy.
And let's be real, the story is super honest here. Recovery is not a straight line. It's messy. It meant dealing with tough days, medication side effects that made everything feel numb, and therapy sessions that felt like reopening old wounds. It was 2 steps forward, 1 step back, over and over again.
But piece by piece, a kind of survival kit started to come together. It was all about learning the warning signs, like racing thoughts or a heavy feeling in the chest. It was about building routines, like a simple morning walk to stay grounded. Learning how to set boundaries was huge too. And maybe most importantly, finding a community, a support group of people who actually get it. And all of this struggle, all this hard work, it leads us to the final part of this story. This is about moving past just surviving the illness and learning how to actually live with it, and then sharing that wisdom with others.
And this right here is maybe the most important shift of all. The illness is still there. Yeah, it's like a permanent passenger, but it's not in the driver's seat anymore. It's a part of who this person is, but it absolutely does not get to define them.
So the final message here is aimed directly at anyone who might be on a similar path. And it starts with this: you are not broken. Having an illness doesn't mean there's something fundamentally wrong with you.
And then there's this one, which is so important. You are not a burden. That fear of weighing people down, it's real. But needing help, asking for it, that isn't weakness. It's actually a huge sign of strength. And finally, the most crucial message of all. You are not alone. Through communities, through support groups, and through people sharing their stories just like this one, there is proof,
everywhere, that other people are walking this same road.
And that's the thought I want to leave you with. This idea that hope isn't just this fuzzy feeling that you have to wait around for, it's an action. It's a choice you actively make every single morning to keep going.